That doesn't mean ask me for a playlist, because I won't have it for you. And don't ask me to name my top 5 albums that Drake or my top 5 albums that Jay-Z ever made. Hello world, you are now tuned in to the Wray Show, and I'm your host Wray. Last week we talked about the transition of me going from a basketball coach to full-time in front of this camera. And something else that I want to have a part of my journey is building a community. And I don't want to just feel like I have fans or people who just tune in and watch. I want y'all to be a part of the process and know what I'm going through and what I think about from video to video. So in the editing process of these videos, I don't really think too much of what I need to improve on. I'm just thinking of, in the moment, what do I need to cut out? What do I need to add? What graphics do I need to put on? What overlays? Things of that nature. And then once I upload it and I put it on YouTube, I watch it as if I were you. And then I look at it and I'm like, nah, I don't like that. Nah, I love that. Nah, that's not it. So during the process of the transition, making that video, I saw that my lighting was off. Or actually not in the process. I already said I didn't see it in the process. So in the process of watching it is what I mean. In the process of watching it, I saw, I don't like the lighting on this. So this half of my face was dark, and then this half of my face was super bright to the point where it just didn't look the way I want it to look. The camera was straight ahead. The light was here, hitting my face extremely hard. This side, nothing at all, and extremely dark. So the adjustment I made was moving the light and putting it directly in front of me so it hits my entire face, so there's no shadow there. The only shadow is like underneath, which really doesn't matter that much. And camera's in the same spot, so it looks a lot better. The vibe looks a lot better in my opinion. And then I had a light in the back as well. I turned that off. So I hope you enjoy the visual of this better than you did the last video. Hopefully I enjoyed it as well. But on to more important things, more interesting things, and that's the 2022 NBA All-Star Game. And every year, if you are someone who watches the game, you know there are a few players, a couple of players who get snubbed, where the media will be like, oh, he should have made it, and why did this guy make it? And just to give you a list of the guys who should have made this team, should have made the NBA All-Star team, and that goes LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges of the Charlotte Hornets. That's Jarrett Allen of the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. And that's DeJounte Murray of the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I only listed a few guys. There were quite a few other ones that should have made it. And also another thing about the selection of the team is that some guys will be hurt and they won't be able to even play in the game. So that some of the guys that I mentioned will end up being injury replacements. And then another thing is that some guys have, salary implications. They have incentives in their contract that say, if you make this all-star team, you'll make this amount of money. So that's when you start thinking about what politics are part of this. And there's politics involved in everything. But you think about what politics are involved in the process of this selection. Because the fans, and I believe it's a player vote, it's like half fans, half player vote, make up who are the starters for the All-Star game. But the coaches get to choose who are the reserves for the game. So you get a case of where an owner might call a coach or coaches and say, hey, don't vote for this player. We don't want to have to pay him that extra milli. We don't have to pay him that extra 500,000. Like, you never know. This type of stuff could happen so teams could save money. And I wouldn't doubt it. I really don't doubt it for guys like Jaylen Brown, a guy like LaMelo Ball, who should have been an all-star, the future face of this league. I think he's going to be perennial all-star in years to come. Why isn't those kind of guys making a team? Or the biggest question for me was Miles Bridges, a guy who's in a contract year. He's never had a year like this. Making an all-star team would have really helped him out. It really would have helped him out in contract talks by adding a clause like, hey, if I make the all-star game again, I get $1 million. I get 500,000, I get 50,000, like whatever the deal is, it could go a long way. So the next time you, even if you're just a casual fan, the next time you look at those names that's up there, and then you hear about snubs and stuff, they might be losing out on money. So that's something to keep an eye on. So let's shift gears for a second. Let's get off the sports. Let's go into just life. Let's go into a life topic. And I was thinking about this. This was over the weekend, and something happened. I can't remember exactly, and I would share it with you if I remembered, but something happened, and I was at the point of I didn't want to hear what anybody had to say. I just tuned out everything. Like if you asked me a question in that moment, I would have been like, yeah, okay, all right, okay, yeah. And I'm back in my phone, like trying to figure out. It could have been me trying to search something. It could have been as simple as, I know it wasn't me trying to figure out what I wanted to eat. It wasn't that petty, but it was just something I was trying to figure out that shifted my mood, and I couldn't figure it out. And then somebody was trying to talk to me, and I was just giving them, yeah, yeah, whatever, like just those kind of answers. So I wonder if any of you out there, do y'all go through that same thing? Like something upsets you, or something befuddles you, or something just stops your track of thought, and you're like, I have to figure this out. I gotta figure this out. And then you just tune out everything else that's going on. You could care less. Like somebody could tell you the world was ending, or a dog was biting your leg, and you'd be like, all right, I'm cool. Let me figure this out. I always think about that. And this weekend I was like, I gotta talk about it on the video this week. I have to talk about it on the video, because I'm like, I wonder if anybody else out there is going through that. And that's something I want to improve on in life. Like I don't want to get to the point where I'm tuning possibly more important things, or just caring about what somebody else is saying, regardless of what I have going on. Like I can put that to the side. I'll figure it out later. What you said, all right, yeah, no, and give it some actual thought. So I want to challenge you to that. If you do the same thing I do, when you have something on your mind that you're really trying to figure out, or something that's really bothering you, don't shut out everything else around you. Figure out what that person is asking you. Make sure you give them the best possible answer, and then get back to what you need to figure out, if that's possible. But if it's something super urgent, then do what you got to do, man. So I've heard once before that music is the universal language of the world. And I find that to be true, because you can go to any country outside the US that doesn't speak English, and some of our biggest songs, they know them word for word, even though they don't know exactly what we're saying. And it's the same thing over here. Like a Spanish speaking song can pop off over here, and I'll sing word for word, or at least I'll try my best to sing word for word. And I have no clue what that song says, but I know it sounds good. So I say all of that to say that I am a big music person. Now, when I say I'm a big music person, that doesn't mean ask me for a playlist, because I won't have it for you. And don't ask me to name my top 5 albums that Drake, or my top 5 albums that Jay-Z ever made, because I'm not going to be able to do that off the top of my head. But I know a lot of random facts about artists. I know a lot of random facts about music. So if you want a random fact, you can go ahead and ask me. But on this serious tip, I love that moment of finding an artist, or the first time someone introduces you to an artist. Like I remember 2009 being introduced to Drake, or '03, 50 Cent, or whatever year that was I first heard Jay-Z. And the list goes on with the artists. Like that, you never forget that moment in life, and you always try to continue to find that moment with another artist. So this artist that I'm about to introduce you to uh, goes by the name of HB. This song is called Studio Vibes. And Studio Vibes, I heard for the first time early last year, 2021. It was probably March, April. The snippet was put on Facebook, and I only heard the hook. And I was like, oh, this is dope. Like, this is fire right here. And never heard from it again, never heard the song again, nothing at all. And then months later, end of October, the entire song drops. And at first, I didn't know what it was when I was hearing the lyrics. And then as soon as that hook dropped, I was like, oh, there it goes. That's the one. And after hearing that entire song, I knew that's the song for HB. Now, HB is somebody I've known for years, for a very long time. And he's been doing his rap thing for a very long time as well. He put something on social media the other day where he uploaded songs back in 2011. So he's been doing this for 10 plus years, probably longer than that. So again, this song is called Studio Vibes by HB. And I want y'all to pay attention to that hook because it really got me. It's the ad lib in there. And I'll explain exactly what it is after you hear it. I don't want to give it away yet, but here it goes. Studio Vibes by HB, straight out of Jacksonville, Florida.
HB time. Sometimes you gotta let that bitch breathe, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Hold up. Hello? I'm in the studio right now, man. I'm hit you right back, man.
Hey, yo, Quantic, run them bands.
I'm in my zone right now. I'm gonna call you right back. I swear to God.
Go dummy.
They tell me practice makes perfect. I'm in the studio working. I'm not your average person. Pop me a perky, I'm swerving, yeah. Some of my niggas, they serving. I'm in my bag like a Birkin. Nigga, I'm clean detergent. Nigga, I'm smooth jerkins. I get more head than a turban. She giving me brain, guess I'm learning. I don't get no fuss like a virgin. Virgil off watch got the limited version. I'm ballin' like Mike and your pockets stay hurtin'. She with me tonight, then she fucking for certain. I lit a cigar and poured up some bourbon. She put on my zipper, so I closed the curtain. Yeah, bitch, I'm a G. You know I keep them blue hunters on me. Stacking my money as tall as a tree. Wrapped in rubber bands, I like it neat. I don't want no virgin, I need me a freak. Running through hoes, now they calling me Z. I keep me a roll and I put that on me. Design on my clothes and I put that on me. Pouring up pose of the purest codeine.
And that was Studio Vibes by HB. Once again, straight out of Jacksonville, Florida. And you can get that on Apple Music. And I'm pretty sure he's on all streaming platforms. But HB, Studio Vibes. And as I was saying with the hook, as you notice, it goes, I'm a G. You know I keep the blue hunters on ya. Stacking my money as tall as a ya. When I heard that ya, the ya is what took me over the top. Ya is what said this song is out of here. Ya is what made that hook, make the whole song something. Something that simple changes the entire song. And that goes with, you know, for example, of something more popular with Drake, Wants and Needs in that song. Something as simple as putting his voice on auto-tune and the hook changed that completely for me. If that didn't have auto-tune on the hook, it would have just been another song. But because he threw the auto-tune, that subtle addition, it made the song that much better. And that's the same thing with HB. He threw that subtle ya in there after every word, and that made it for me. That makes that song so freaking catchy. I love it. That was probably one of, I won't say probably, but it was one of my favorite songs in 2021. So again, go on Apple Music, check that out. Studio Vibes by HB, man. Now, it's time for me to wrap this up. Another episode of the Al Wray Show. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to like this video and share it with a loved one. That's all I have for you at this time. Until next time, peace.